Hello everyone. This is Moo from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make the money cat cushion, the lucky cat. The electronic tutorial. You can search for en.sussudiy.com on the website to check it out. The tutorial focuses on explaining the tricky parts. The demonstration uses a small sample. It only shows the method. After completing the main piece, there's an opening at the back. Sew the zipper using a sewing thread. After finishing the belly, crochet the border with the right side facing up. Place the narrower end at the top. Sew it onto the lower center of the main piece. For the main piece decoration, crochet the parts first. Then sew on one long stripe on the head vertically centered. Secure a short stripe on each side. Secure 2 stripes on each lower side of the main piece. Be mindful that all stripes should have the wrong side facing up. Then, glue a ribbon around in this area above the center. The overlapping part should be behind. Next, in the middle section of the ribbon at the front, use sewing thread to sew on the bell. When sewing, to secure it to the fabric piece. Then, take out the text pattern. Cut out the text. Place it with the wrong side facing up on the non-woven fabric. Be mindful. If this shape is difficult to cut, you can make an opening by cutting it. Trace the outline with a pencil. Then, cut out the pattern along the drawn lines. On the right center of the plaque, place the text vertically. Mind that the plaque is positioned in a diamond shape. Place the non-woven fabric with the marked lines facing down. After adjusting the position, glue it in place. Finally, sew the plaque onto the right bottom of the belly. Then crochet a chain stitch pattern in the left bottom of the belly. Be mindful that here we use 2 strands held together for crocheting. For each stitch, you need to pull tight the chain stitch. This makes the chain stitch braid tighter and neater. Then, refer to the pattern for the design. Glue on the chain stitch pattern. Tuck the yarn tails into the fabric. If it's difficult to glue, you can use the pins to secure the chain stitches. Finally, attach rhinestones above. Adjust the position according to your preference. For the round 2 of the arm, start by making 1 SC. In the same stitch, make 1 HDC 4 puff. Here, you can slightly enlarge the loop first, then make 4 incomplete HDCs. Here, be mindful to enlarge the loop as much as possible. Then complete the bobble stitch. The next stitch, make 1 HDC. No need to enlarge the loop for this HDC. Then tidy up the puff stitch, making it protrude to the front side. Slightly pull the loops a bit. to loosen them up. Continue with 1 HDC4 puff. Make 1 HDC. Next stitch, make 1 HDC4 puff. And 1 SC. Tidy up all the bobble stitches. For one of the two arm pieces, you'll need to add joints, so it can swing back and forth. Here, you can refer to the finished product when choosing the arm, or adjust according to your preference. Note that left and right here refer to the toy itself. For the demonstration, we'll use the left arm as an example. After completing the second to last round of the main piece, take out the joint. Place the arm with the puff stitch protrusion facing forward. Place it in the corresponding position on the left side of the main piece. Here, I'm using a small sample instead of the main piece. If attaching to the right arm, place it in the corresponding position on the right side. Between rounds 13 and 14, at the connecting point, pull through the screw. If it's difficult to insert, you can use a crochet hook to expand the spot. Then find the side of the main piece, at the indentation between rounds 29 and 30. The position of the sample here is random. Insert the screw. Next, take out the larger ring. Snap it on. Slightly press down on the fabric piece, then take out the smaller ring. With the protruding side facing outward, snap it onto the screw. Snap until the arm fits snugly against the main part, and can move smoothly. Be mindful not to snap it too tight or too loose. That completes the joint attachment. Now add stuffing. Then close the opening after finishing the final round. After crocheting the rest of the arm. On the outside of the arm, sew the stripes of both arms separately. Secure the arm with the joint. The stripe is secured on the lower outwards. For the other arm, the stripe is secured on the back of the arm, which is the side without the puff stitches. After crocheting the paw pads, place them with the wrong side up. Glue them onto the center below the protrusion of the arm with the joint. Then use the yarn used to crochet stripes. Embroider the paw seams between the puff stitches and the HDC stitches and its insertion points. Thread through twice for each strand. Finally, sew the arm without the joint onto the other side of the main body, with the pattern facing outwards. For the third round, crochet cross the rounds. Start with 1 SC. Make 1 HDC 5 puff. Skip 3 round of the protrusive texture. Find the second round from down below. The insertion point of the last SC2 in 1. Right here. Make 5 incomplete HDCS. Be mindful to enlarge the loop. Finish the puff stitch. Then skip the stitch covered by the puff stitch. Make 1 HDC in the next stitch. Continue at the previous insertion position. Skip 1 stitch position. Make a HDC 5 puff. Then continue by skipping 1 stitch and making 1 HDC. Continue skipping 1 stitch position. Make a HDC 5 puff. Then continue by skipping 1 stitch. Make SCS to finish the round. Join with a slip stitch. Turn the right side outwards. Tidy up the loops of the puff stitches. Try to make them protrude as much as possible. That completes the third round. Finish the second to last round of the leg. Stuffing. Be mindful to stuff fewer in the back part. Close the opening at the end. Use the yarn for the pattern. Embroider the claw seam between the puff stitches on the leg. Be mindful to thread in the middle position of both sides of the puff stitches. Finally, use the thread from the end of the leg, sew onto the both sides at the bottom of the main piece. The closing position should roughly match the arm closing position. Protrude the puff stitch on the legs outwards. Crochet and stuff the tail piece as you go. After completing, sew on the tail stripe staggered. Finally, secure it to the back of the main piece. The tail faces the side without the jointed arm. The facial features include the ears. The ears are divided into inner and outer ears. When crocheting the last row of the outer ear, merge and crochet with the inner ear. When crocheting, make sure the right side of the last row of the inner ear facing you. After completing, sew the inner ear to the top of the head with the inner ear facing forward. When sewing, let the middle part dent backward. Pick up the edges of both the inner and outer ear pieces, and whip stitch them together. Finally, apply a little blush in the center of the inner ear. Use corresponding yarn to embroider lines for the eyes and mouth. And use glue to create an arc. Then glue on the nose. Before gluing, you need to trim the nose. Use pliers to trim off the end of the nose. The pliers should be as close to the wrong side of the nose as possible. Be mindful not to hurt yourself while using them. There will be a bit left over, but that's okay. Apply glue to the wrong side. Glue it onto the corresponding position for the nose. Make sure to also glue around the edges. Avoid showing any marks from the wrong side. Finally, use the same color thread as the eyes. Take 2 strands, embroider whiskers on both sides, and secure them with glue. Below the eyes on both sides, you can apply some blush. After crocheting the main part of the hat, stuff it and sew it onto the top center of the head. Use 2 strands of gold thread to divide into 6 parts and embroider lines. Lastly, at the front, attach a gem above the middle of the switch color position. Glue it around with 2 rounds of gold thread glued on. Up to this point, all the tricky parts of the entire pillow blanket are explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.